Mr. Chairman, earlier today, we heard the beginning of the preamble to the Constitution of the United States, We the People. I felt somehow for many years that George Washington and Alexander Hamilton just left me out by mistake. But through the process of amendment, interpretation, and court decisions, I have finally been included in We the People. Today, I am an inquisitor. I believe hyperbole would not be fictional and would not overstate the solemnness that I feel right now. My faith in the Constitution is whole. It is complete. It is total. I am not going to sit here and be an idle spectator to the diminution, the subversion, the destruction of the Constitution. The fact is that yesterday, the American people waited with great anxiety for 8 hours, not knowing whether their president would obey an order of the Supreme Court of the United States. Beginning shortly after the Watergate break-in, President Nixon has engaged in a series of public statements designed to thwart the lawful investigation by government prosecutors. He has made public assertions bearing on the Watergate case, which the evidence will show he knew to be false. If the impeachment provision of the Constitution of the United States will not reach the offenses charged here, then perhaps that 18th century Constitution should be abandoned to a 20th century paper shredder. Has the president committed offenses and planned and directed and acquiesced in a course of conduct which the Constitution will not tolerate? That is the question. It is reason and not passion which must guide our deliberation, guide our debate, and guide our decision. Benny?
No, BJ, it's Nancy.
Is it morning or afternoon?
It's 2 o'clock, Barbara, afternoon.
I dozed off.
Did you see the newspaper?
What are you doing here?
Dr. Briggs told me the specialist was coming in. I didn't want to miss her. Did you see the paper?
Mm-hmm.
Are you happy?
I had a dream about John Ed. He came to visit me here in the hospital. He brought a few rags to fold.
Reform.
I remember my dad quoting from scripture about a man who left the church and went down from Jerusalem. Whenever he saw John Ed, my father used to badger him about how when you leave the church, you go down from Jerusalem. Even as a child, I wanted to say to my dad, if you even get to heaven, John Ed is going to be there opening the gates for you.
How did this dream turn out? When John Ed appeared, what did he say?
That's the thing. I heard him laugh, just the way he used to, so sweet. The only problem is I couldn't make out a goddamn word he was saying. I could use a real toothbrush.
I brought you a real toothbrush last night.
No.
A purple toothbrush. It's standing in a cup beside your Colgate.
No.
Has no one combed your hair since last night?
I certainly haven't.
Should I open the shades? Let a little light in? Where are you going?
Jerry Ford is expecting me on the golf course.
Why don't you just take the chair? It's a wonderful invention. 1 second you're here, the next second you're there.
I'll take the walker.
At least let me help you up. On 3, okay?
Get away. Go over there. Go way over there.
Slow down.
I've gone 2 feet here.
Just watch what you're doing.
Oh, shit.
Sit down. Just sit down.
When is she supposed to be here?
Any minute. Briggs says Woodruff is the best.
Speaking of Briggs,
You will see him at 4. He does have other patients, you know.
when this specialist gets here, I'll do all the talking, okay?
Of course.
I mean it. I'll do the talking.
I said fine.
So, have you turned the swimming pool into a giant planter yet?
Got a load of dirt, come say.
Ha!
I am tempted to drain the damn thing.
It was hot. I was bored.
I don't want to hear it was hot. You were bored.
Well,
Barbara, you scared the life out of me. You have no idea what I went through.
how are things at home?
The outside daisies are in bloom. The new pines and Indian paintbrush are popping up in the ditches by the driveway.
Lord,
I haven't seen the cardinal in months.
it's that new seed mixture.
I don't think so. The female still comes around. I can't figure it out unless one of the cats got to him. I've hired a carpenter. It will be a random home. You can use it or not at your own
Get
discretion.
this straight. I'm going to do what I want to do when I want to do it until I can't do it anymore.
Hello?
Oh, shit.
Yes?
I'm Karen Woodruff.
Nancy Earl, I'm Barbara's housemate.
Hello. Oh, dear. It is an honor, Professor. Miss. No, Congresswoman Jordan.
You had it right the first time.
Oh, good. What did I say?
Why don't you just call me Barbara? That will simplify things.
It might take me about 5 minutes before I can have a normal conversation with you. Oh, this is so unprofessional.
I spent 6 years in the U.S. Congress. Don't worry about it.
Dr. Woodruff,
Yes.
Barbara's on quite a combination of drugs. She's just going to give you a rough time. Think of me as the responsible adult here.
I'm sorry. You told me your name and I...
Nancy Earl. We're curious about how the heart attack may have affected the MS.
Yes, well, of course. I have looked over all the records and talked extensively with Dr. Briggs. And they took some blood this morning.
I'm down about a quart.
I just want to ask a few questions, and then I'll go and have a look at the results of the blood work. In about 10 minutes, we'll take you down to rehab for an evaluation. Now, Dr. Briggs told me that prior to the incident, you were experiencing some trouble with your vision. It would break up on you, be hard to focus.
I need new glasses.
She changed her glasses prescription 3 times last year. It didn't help.
Any numbness in your arms or legs?
They slept a little.
Every 15 minutes, her legs went to sleep. I finally got her a walker.
Oh, how's that working out, the walker?
Great.
Have you suffered any mood swings, fatigue, depression?
No,
They had her on lithium, but she stopped taking it.
I couldn't wake up to do my work.
Any unusual stress lately?
She's taken on an extra class.
I just want to have a quick look at your eyes. Follow the light for me. You've cut out caffeine?
Yes.
Good.
Yes. She smokes 2 packs of cigarettes a day.
I buy 2 packs of cigarettes a day.
And she takes 3 shots of Cutty Sark every evening.
Now, I don't have to tell you what that's doing to your immune system, do I?
I've heard the lecture.
I've taken the liberty of giving her some dietary supplements and making some herbal teas to try and counteract the damage.
Have you noticed any new sensations or sudden lack of sensations that you may have experienced since the accident?
No.
Any new feelings or emotions?
No.
Nothing?
No.
I can't be of much use to you, Ms. Jordan, if you won't help me out a little here.
Thank you, Dr. Woodruff.
Okay then, I'll be back in about 10 minutes.
We'll be ready.
Oh, by the way, congratulations. You must be very pleased.
Pleased? Pleased about what?
Let me get this straight. You've seen the paper, but you haven't actually read it, have you?
Strom Thurmond had another baby?
Barbara,
What?
listen up. You are being awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
By whom?
By the President of the United States, I would assume.
What for?
Where is your comb?
I want my slippers.
I'll get them.
No,
Barbara.
I'll get them. And thanks for letting me do all the talking, by the way.
It was all I could do to keep my mouth shut.
I'm sure.
You say you can't hear what John Ed is trying to say? Why does that make total sense? Barbara,
What?
if you keep on like this, you are not going to make it.
Spare me.
I didn't think you were going to make it.
I am tired of your sarcasm and denial.
I'm here.
And I'm tired of this conversation.
What do you need?
These rags need tying up. You got a stander on that bike?
Yes, sir.
You'll wreck the finish if you don't use it. That's a Schwinn, child.
Sorry. We're tying up bundles?
Old man Moses is coming later to take him to the scale. What happened to you? Is that blood?
I took a tumble.
You fell off your bike?
I fell.
Mama!
No, sir, please. It's just a scrape or two. Don't call Mama.
You're bleeding.
Don't call Mama.
Why shouldn't I call your grandmother?
She'll just make an ungodly fuss.
Nothing she does is ungodly, child. I thought you knew that by this time.
I don't need any kind of fuss at the moment.
What do you need?
Your handkerchief will do. Thank you.
I shouldn't have got you that bike. You're still too small for it.
I didn't fall off the bike.
What happened then?
You fed Pigeon Dewey yet?
They wait for you on Sunday.
Should I go?
Your grandmother gave them a few sweet potatoes. They can wait their turn for you, but I can't. Sit beside me for a little and work. Dewey's getting fat anyway.
Everything that's old gets fat, especially mules.
I'm old. You see any fat on me?
I'm not saying whether I do or don't.
And here I am thinking I'm in the prime of my life. You hungry? Because I went through the back door of Matthew Garner's and got us a bag full of regulars. He's getting stingy. Old Matt. I pay for them, but the bag gets lighter every week. Mama's keeping them warm for you.
No, sir. I'm not hungry just yet.
Say the word.
Pretty soon.
Here's the money Moses gave me last Monday. Put it away.
Mother thinks we should be putting your money in the bank.
Tell her that you're my bank.
Well, I've got a lot of money stuffed in odd places.
Toss that rag. It's too dirty. Hand me your twine. And let go of that knife.
I'm 12 years old.
I know how old you are, Hart, but the fact remains I would be derelict in my duty to your folks if I were to let you cut that rope with that knife, especially since I know how you're going to do it.
How do you know how I'm going to do it?
Because I'm looking. You got your left fist on the twine and you're about to pull up with the right. That razor will make a swift and accurate beeline for your eye. It hasn't got a thing to do with how old you are. It's about how smart you are.
I'm smart.
No, you're wise. Smart will come later. You think you'll do me any good in my old age with your right eye gone? Handle first. You shed enough blood for one day. I think I asked you for that twine, too. So how come you're so late?
I met up with some friends. We were playing a game.
Not those children in the next row, I hope. You don't need to be associating with those children.
Not them, some others.
You don't need to be like them.
Like what?
Ignorant.
I wasn't playing with those ignorant children.
That's good.
I was playing with some other ignorant children.
She thinks she is so clever, Lord.
How come you don't go to church?
I got my church right here.
I don't see no church.
Any church. What do you see?
Your backyard. Rags, newspapers, tin cans, and manure. No pulpit, only busted chairs. No praying, just chat. And we never dress up back here. Mother makes me put on my oldest clothes to come see you. Nobody testifies.
Those are your oldest clothes?
We tie up bundles and eat regulars.
And that worries you, does it?
I'm not worried.
What are you then?
It's a stupid game anyway.
Then don't play it.
They make me.
Who makes you, baby? I can fix it so you don't have to play any game you don't want to.
Well, they don't make me exactly, but they can't play the game if I don't.
What is this game called, if you don't mind my asking?
The sinner game. The Christians and the sinner.
Just one sinner?
I'm the only one who can play the sinner.
Why are you the only one?
Because I'm the only one who ain't been saved yet.
What happens in this game? Do they make you testify or what?
They throw me into the hellfires, which means they push me down in the ditch beside Lawson's gas station.
They do what?
I have to scream and beg for my soul. And then they laugh, or pray, or weep, whatever suits them.
It's always you they push into the ditch?
Well, today it got a little out of hand.
How about you and me take a walk?
A walk?
Let's take a little stroll on over to the next row.
You won't fix anything. And even if you could, we'd have to go a lot farther than the next row. I don't know what the big deal is about being saved. It doesn't turn you into a different person, does it?
Not that I've noticed.
Anyway, you haven't been saved, so I don't suppose I want to be either. It's a matter of principle, I guess you could say. I'm with you.
On what grounds have you decided that you're with me? And for your information, I have too gotten myself saved.
When? When did you? Where was I?
You were down in El Paso herding sheep.
Grandpa.
It's my way of saying it was years before you were born. I got myself saved, and since I was saved, I felt I could relax a bit.
So, if I get myself saved, I can relax?
Well,
Maybe not go to church quite so often?
now don't get me into trouble here, Art. I simply choose not to attend formal church services, and nobody misses me.
I bet Mama misses you at church.
Your grandmother does not miss me at church. She's as nervous as a tick whenever I go. I'm a hopeless old sinner. She's happy I'm not sitting beside her, belching and rolling my eyes.
Who told you were a hopeless old sinner?
What?
Nobody's gonna call you a hopeless old sinner.
And nobody did. Settle down, child.
You're not a hopeless old sinner.
Okay, I'm young and pure.
Well, you're not.
No, I'm not. I'm fine. I'll see you in heaven, okay?
Just tell me and I can arrange it.
Darling child, you don't have to arrange nothing. I am not a hopeless old sinner. You do not have to arrange a thing.
Neither do you then.
What?
If you can take care of yourself, so can I. You don't need to worry about any more ignorant children.
Lord, I'm in deep water here.
So you actually went and got yourself saved? Without telling me?
My mama saw to it in pretty short order.
Why'd you stop going? What's wrong with church?
Not a thing wrong with church, Art. Not a thing.
Then why don't you go?
I don't go like your folks do. I don't go like my own woman does. I'd rather give up the ghost than listen to your grandpa Jordan carry on the way he does.
He has a mighty fine speaking voice. That's what they say.
He has a fine voice. Just makes me itch all over on those special occasions when I hear it.
Easter Sunday is the only time you hear it. I go 155 times more than you do, every single year.
You figured it out, have you?
And it's not fair if you ask me.
Nobody's asking, have you noticed?
Why does he make you itch?
I don't possess his particular slant in the matter of faith. I deal in weights and measurements, just like a Supreme Court justice.
How are you like a Supreme Court justice?
A judge weighs in on fundamental disagreement. I weigh in on people's trash. I figure me and any judge you can name are in the same business. Now, I don't actually have a certificate, a degree that tells the world exactly who I am and what I know. My diploma comes from the school of hard knocks, heavy weights, and accurate measurements.
I don't think judges talk as much as you do. You sound like a preacher to me.
So be it.
I think I mostly resemble your side of the family.
Why?
Church is a misery. I never thought of it giving me the itches like you said. It gives me the fidgets. I love to sing there. I love to sing. But I don't just want to sing the hymns. I want to sing the blues too. Know what my favorite song to sing is?
All ears.
Money Honey. You know the landlord rang my front doorbell. I let it ring for a long, long spell. I went to the window and peeked out the blinds. I asked him to tell me what was on his mind. He said, Money honey, hey, money honey, money honey, if you want to get along with me.
That was just fine.
The message of the song is not, I guess, such a fine thing, because when I tried to sing it at Good Hope Baptist, Rosemary and Benny told me to pipe down.
Well, you can sing it here, Hart, anytime you want. Money, if you want to get along with me. That's how you sing the blues.
You know how people write, or maybe say, she was black in her heart? It was a black day. He was a blackguard.
Blackguard.
Blackguard?
Never mind, just go.
So Benny's telling me the other day about the first thing Daddy said when he saw me newborn. She said it made Ma'am cry. You know what I'm talking about?
What did Benny say?
You know the thing I mean?
I might.
Is it true?
You surprised him, Hart. You were an intense person, even newborn.
Did ma'am cry?
Your mother cries if her shoes match her dress.
So she cried.
Your daddy wasn't thinking straight. He hurt your mother's feelings.
Benny thinks he was hoping for a boy, and then I came out. Not only was I a girl, I was too black. Benny says he asked, "Why is she so black? Was that my first sin?
No,
Why am I so black?"
because you're perfect.
Do you think my heart is black?
You're doing something with that word black, making some judgment which I forbid you to make. You know old Bill down the street?
Who collects spiders. And he's got a funny tooth. He looks like a rhino.
Yeah, Bill who collects spiders and has a funny tooth.
I don't like to say it, but he looks like a wild boar or something.
The man has an upside down tooth. But that's not the point. Is Bill too white? Does he have a white heart? Can we make any assumptions at all about Bill's good or bad behavior because he happens to be a white man?
Then why did my daddy say it? Like it was something bad. I don't think he likes me, even to this day. I'm always the one in trouble with him.
Not because you're too black, because you're too smart.
No, I'm wise. Smart will come later, right?
That kind of remark is exactly what I mean. That kind of remark drives your father crazy. Too black. There's no such thing. It was just your father's foolishness, and I know you could find it in your heart to forgive him.
It's not just him that thinks so.
Children tease you about your color?
Not just them.
Who else?
My teacher is color struck.
She's what?
That's what I call it. I've noticed that if she thinks your skin has no light in it, if you have to get your hair combed with Excellento, she thinks you're maybe a little backwards too.
The pinhead teaches children to put down one of their own.
That's why I like to prove her wrong every chance I get. She doesn't like that.
As if we don't have enough trouble on our hands.
Let's face facts.
Let's do.
I'm awful black, and I'm always the one in trouble.
And you think there's a correlation there, do you?
Grandpa.
You think those two things are related to each other?
I don't know. I'm only asking. Benny thinks I'm like you too. She says you was always in trouble too.
Your sister's been a busy girl.
She's busier than anybody.
I'm beginning to believe it.
She said she heard Mother and Daddy talking late one night. She said they were talking about Mother's brother, the one that died while you were in the penitent.
Your sister told you about that?
Benny believes in digging for the truth.
Yes, indeed. Benny's the busiest girl I know. So, come again. You figure you're like me because we both
Cause trouble. We're troublesome creatures, and very black.
Barbara. I did cause trouble one time in my life, it's true. I'm going to tell you about it because I think you're old enough to hear it. And I don't want you to hear it from anybody but me. I want the facts straight. You understand?
Yes.
You can make up your own mind then, once and for all, whether or not I'm a hopeless old sinner.
Okay.
And it's not the penitent, it's the penitentiary, prison. Back when your grandmother was as young and pretty as a filly and your mother was a little girl, I owned a candy store over there on San Felipe Street. I was sitting up there late one night doing some inventory and nursing a little gin when I heard someone come from the street. This person said he needed change, so I opened the door. The day's receipts were stacked on the middle of the counter. Just as I get around behind it, he makes a jump for the money, breaks it into his hand, bolts out the door. I have a gun in the back room, so I go and get it. When I'm out of the shop, I'm fit to be tied. I see this fellow running down Hainer Avenue. I take off after him and stumble over the streetcar tracks. Like I say, I have a little gin working on me. I pick myself up and I hear somebody call, "Catch that, he's got a gun." Next thing I know, somebody's shooting at me and I'm running as fast as I can. Just as I round the corner on Saunier and see there's no place to go, I stop, turn around, put my hands up high, and whosoever he is, once I turn the face with my hand high up, he takes the opportunity to pull. It went in here and it came out here. This time I'm a little agitated by this time. I swear to you, Hart, I don't remember any of what happened, but they tell me I shoot. Turns out I was shooting at a white policeman, and I hit him too. Hit him 3 times.
Did you kill him?
No, miss, looking after both of us that night. That policeman lived to test against me in court before a jury who convicted me pretty much on his word alone.
A white policeman, a white judge, and jury.
Before you draw any conclusions, guess who it was sitting every day in the court ready to testify as to my character and my behavior that night? Guess who it was that raised a $5,000 bond to get me to jail so I could continue to support my family while the appeals were pending?
Who?
The white shopkeepers on San Felipe Street. White men and women and their children were sitting in that courtroom every day on my side. Old man Moses weighs 1 bale of newspapers at a time, doesn't he?
Yes, sir.
That's just how you take the measure of a human heart, one individual at a time. 7 years into my sentence, Ma Ferguson got herself elected governor. Her first act was to pardon a goodly number of Negro convicts who had been wrongly convicted. 10 years to the day of my incarceration, I was among the first to be set free. A full, uncondemned pardon. So there, now you know. What do you think of your old grandpa now?
I still like you just fine.
Good.
Only more so.
All right then. Came out and went into the junk business, and I've been a cheerful man ever since. Happy ending. I always liked being for myself, especially after my experience in prison. Never wanted a soul between me and the Lord. What have I always told you?
The world is not a playground, but a schoolroom. Life is not a holiday, but...
Yeah, I told you that, but I'm thinking about something else.
I take the narrow way, with the resolute few who dare to go through.
I have filled your head. No, I was thinking this time about you just trot your own horse.
Trot your own horse and don't go into the same rut as everybody else.
Do what you're going to do and don't get sidetracked. That's the path that Christ took. You don't need a soul in this world operating between you and the power. It's the power barber that sets you free. Don't waste your gifts.
What gifts?
Have you ever heard your mother speak?
She talks all the time.
I mean, at prayer meetings.
Yes, sir. At meetings.
Do you understand she has more power in her voice when she's simply chatting with a neighbor than Grandpa Jordan has during his most inspired orations?
She's pretty loud. Yes, sir.
I'm not talking volume, I'm talking resonance, resounding intellect, resounding spirit, resounding voice. Her voice can bring people to their knees, you understand?
It's done that to me on many occasions, but it's the palm of her hand you've really got to watch out for.
Are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
Your mother was meant bigger things, and she didn't heed the call. I was almost out of hope until you came into this world. You've got something your mother never had.
What's that?
Perspective. Your mother saw the world from deep in the valley. That was my fault, I expect. You see the world from a mountaintop.
I've never seen a mountain in my life.
Just look beneath your feet.
Mama's right.
About what?
You are a perplexing individual.
Well, it takes one to know one.
I'm gonna go get myself saved, I expect. I'm not gonna get saved because you did, because I wouldn't jump off a building if you did, much as I like to follow you around.
That's a mercy.
I'm not gonna get saved because I always have to play that one bankrupt sinner who gets herself cast into the eternal hellfires. Okay, maybe that's a little bit of the reason. If I get myself saved, it's sort of an insurance policy for after I'm dead. Jesus can just look in the book and see I got myself saved, and that will be one particular load off of my mind.
Mine too.
My sisters say that they are happy in the Lord. I'd like to get me some of that happiness. For a long time, I felt sad in the Lord. It's not like the Lord bears a grudge against me.
Of course not.
I don't think he's even noticed me. Getting myself saved might make me smart enough to handle a knife. Maybe my daddy won't talk against me. There are 100 reasons of why I could go get myself saved. There's only one that really makes sense to me. You know what that is?
I can't imagine.
Because I just plain feel like it.
You just plain feel like it. That's it.
Yes, sir, that's the heart of the matter. It feels like the right thing to do. I figure a body can't know a thing in this world until she experiences it for herself. Her own sorry self.
Stop talking, Barbara.
Okay.
Jesus himself entered the temple at age 12.
That settles it then. Next Sunday, I'm going to march my bankrupt bag of bones to the front of the church and get myself saved.
I may put on a tie and come to church to see such a glorious sight.
Really?
I make no promises.
Don't come if you don't want to. It's up to you.
There is one thing your grandfather Jordan and I have in common after all. One small, pure, decent thing.
What?
Don't ask what, ask who. Stop rubbing your eyes like that. I think you might need glasses.
No, I don't.
That's what your mother said till she ran into that stone wall with her bike.
I see fine.
And find your way to your grandma's kitchen, wash yourself up, and bring us back some of those regulars. After we're fed, we'll find some oats for those fat old mules.
Yes, sir.
Now, Barbara, take your shoes off on the porch. Your grandmother's on the warpath. If you think church is a misery, try crossing her newly waxed kitchen floor in anything but your stocking feet.
Yes, sir. Mama!
Who speaks for the Negro? The Negro has always had the faith, an almost blind faith, in what the country promised to become. The Negro stands silhouetted against a thriving and abundant America. And his presence, his very presence on the American scene, speaks for itself. What does he want? He wants in. He wants you to hear him, understand his condition. He feels that if you do this, if you really listen to him as he speaks through his presence and understand his condition, he feels that you will save him, and that in the process of saving him, you will also save this country, and that in the process of saving this country, you save yourselves. Chairman Strauss,
Barbara.
I'm sorry.
Well, don't be. I'm early.
I've been running all day. I can't seem to get hold of the time.
This painting wasn't here the last time I stopped by, was it?
I don't know. I've had it a while. I commissioned Polsky Morgan to do it for me. You like it?
It's beautiful.
It makes this office feel like home. Did Bud offer you something to?
No, thanks. I've had enough coffee for one day.
Have a seat.
Why are you limping?
I've got some bum cartilage in my right knee. I was hoping the weight loss would take care of it.
You do look svelte.
Tell that to my knee.
You are a shadow of your former self.
When the press corps stops using descriptive words like presence and carriage and starts using words like massive and hulking, you know it's time for a little spinach. Also, Nancy promised me a bike if I took off 60 pounds by Labor Day.
You dare ride a bike in Washington?
As a matter of fact, I don't. By Labor Day, I had only lost 57 pounds. I never got the bike.
She didn't buy you the bike.
She wouldn't budge. It's nice to see you again.
You were 3 pounds off the mark, and she didn't.
And people think I'm tough.
Good Lord.
You want to call her in Texas, Bob? Because I still really want the bike.
Maybe I'll drop her a line.
Smart man. What can I do for you?
I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, shit.
What?
You've quit smoking, haven't you?
Oh, that's okay. Go ahead.
No, I won't corrupt you. How did you finally manage it?
You've got to want to quit. That's really the key.
Well, now, there's got to be another key, Bob, because I'll never want to quit. I can tell you that right now.
Lung cancer is another good way.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, so what gives?
I've come from Ed Williams.
Is this about John Connolly?
What have you heard?
Will he be indicted?
Looks that way.
Just when I think I've heard it all.
Watergate is over, Barbara. This is different.
What does he want from me?
Justice. Now, I know how you feel about the man.
Wait a minute.
Ed Williams will be representing him.
How can I give the man justice?
Ed asked me to stop by and see if I could enlist your help.
To do what?
He wants you to intercede on John's behalf during the proceedings as a captain. I'm not kidding, Barbara.
Why me?
My faith in the Constitution is whole. It is complete. It is total. I'm not going to sit here and be an idle spectator.
Right.
That speech made quite an impact on this country, Barbara.
It was nothing but common sense.
Common sense is hard to come by on the Hill.
Lyndon once gave me a great bit of advice. When it comes to asking for a political favor, don't go for it unless it's already in your pocket. I assume Ed Williams understands that piece of wisdom.
I believe you could say he's playing a long shot. I told him you might kill the messenger.
That must be the reason why he didn't come and speak for himself.
Well, no doubt.
What makes Edward Bennett Williams think I would lift a finger to help his smug son of a bitch client?
Well, here we go.
I'll tell you why he wants me up there. D.C. is a black town, that's why. And a D.C. jury is going to be front and center.
Wait.
I've come a long way, Bob. Sometimes in spite of my color and sometimes because of it. I put it to you. Have I earned my place in the spotlight, or was it handed to me because of my pretty black face? This is a question designed to occupy fools. Therefore, it rarely troubles me. However, I do cringe. I do become slightly hostile. Well, when a man who has ignored me for half a lifetime suddenly wants to rub my nappy little head for good luck. Can you understand that? The bells and whistles go off.
Yes.
I actually have an intestinal response to the whole idea, Bob.
I understand.
Apart from that, this is what my reason tells me about John Connally. He made hay after JFK was assassinated.
What?
I never saw so much fundraising come from one bullet.
Now, just a goddamn minute. That one bullet went through John Fitzgerald Kennedy's neck and into John Connally's back. He fell into a pool of his own blood in Nellie's lap.
That one bullet did more for his political image than anything he ever did as governor of Texas. And he wasn't even trying.
Well, forget it. You just forget it.
Oh, Robert, stop.
I don't believe I've ever heard anything so
Robert,
deliberately cold.
Robert, please.
I know you've never seen eye to eye with John, but Jesus Christ.
Sit back down.
He and Nellie went to hell and back.
I know that.
Look, I'll just tell Williams.
What time is it?
What time is it?
Yes.
You think I don't feel the pressure?
I'm asking in the literal sense, Bob. My clock is on the fritz. Just look at your watch and tell me what time it is.
It's 5:30. Why?
A little scotch is going to make this meeting go a whole lot better.
Damn straight. Break it out. Oh, good Lord.
I was out of line, okay? I know he's your good friend, but if John Connally is asking Barbara Jordan for a favor, it gets complicated. Whether or not you've noticed, I have a considerable agenda on the Hill. I stand at the bottom of it, pushing every bill I introduce up it. One false move could scrap my plans.
I would not put your career in jeopardy.
I don't give a shit about my career. You could wreck my work.
You'll take a little heat from the left.
Have you noticed my constituents happen to be pretty left-handed?
I don't know if John is using your pretty black face. Something happened to him after the assassination. He is a changed man. A bit more self-preoccupied, perhaps. A little more conservative.
A tad more Republican?
Hey, who do you think you're talking to? Do you suppose for one moment the fact is wasted on me? Well, John believes we Democrats have all lost our minds. I believe he thought he was following his integrity into the Republican Party.
Right into Richard Nixon's camp? Now there's some integrity.
I'm telling you.
John urged Nixon to burn the Watergate tapes. He advised Nixon to bomb Hanoi. He reminded the president nuclear weapons were an option.
Nixon's program to stimulate the economy in 71. Everybody on the Hill knew that was John's idea. Did anybody ever hear John take credit for its success? Well, Nixon used John like he used everybody else, but John just couldn't see it.
The only case on record of a man swimming toward a sinking ship.
Which only bolsters my contention that he is innocent. But he had no idea what was happening. This indictment is nothing more than vicious political maneuvering. It is a travesty of everything that this country stands. Why are you crawling under your desk?
In high school, I learned this was the appropriate response to bullshit, both foreign and domestic.
You are such a rotten bitch, Jordan. Now you come on out from under there.
Oh, keep talking, buddy. Now that I'm safe, I'm all ears.
I'd love to, but if I did, your secretary would take this opportunity to bring in a gaggle of Texas tourists, and then where would we be?
Good Lord, you're probably right.
You okay? You need help?
My right leg is asleep.
Let me help you up. How can your leg be asleep?
Sue me, it sounds asleep.
You might need surgery on that knee.
Thanks, I'm fine. Where were we?
Special prosecutor has 2 witnesses, both highly suspect, and a safety deposit box full of cash. Now, the serial numbers don't add up, and anyone could have tampered with that money. That's evidence. 1 ounce of proof.
The special prosecutor seems to think it is.
The special prosecutor is out of control. I know you think John abandoned the Democrats, but we fumbled the ball during 2 elections. George McGovern, president, that left-wing pacifist. McGovernite stole the party in broad daylight. They remade up the rules as they went along, and they didn't bother to tell the rest of us what they were.
We did not fumble in 68. They shot our nominee, remember?
Point of clarification?
Okay.
The Republicans did not shoot our nominee.
Details.
68 was a tragedy. 72 was a travesty. John's convinced we're going to blow it again in 76. He believes we've lost our way. We also forgot about the folks in the middle of the party. Let's face it, to a certain extent, maybe we have. He believes that the only place a thinking man can go is to
the other side.
You think that takes courage to leave your party because you have a private conviction, an absolute purpose?
Connolly's absolute purpose is to win the presidency next year. He'll do it through the Democrats, the Republicans, his local moose lodge. It won't matter. He will go with the machine that can get him elected. The man is desperate. Electability isn't everything.
Chris Dixie tells a story about you.
Well, now there's a head-spinning change of subject.
How the story goes?
Probably not. Chris is a loose cannon.
After you were defeated in your second bid for a seat in the Texas Senate, he says he came to you as your candidate.
Yes.
And he says, well, we've got the analysis for you.
Oh, that.
And you said, I'll give you the analysis. I didn't win. There, now we've got it analyzed.
It changes with the telling.
One thing doesn't change. Demonstrates in plain English what every politician knows. Electability is everything. Now, you can't do one damn thing for the people if the people don't put you in office first. You won't refuse to testify for the man just because he changed horses in midstream.
Why won't I?
I swear to God, Barbara, if they convict him, I'll resign.
It's personal. Well then, I'd like to know what his plan for the nation is. It certainly doesn't include me or my constituents, the people who put me in office. As governor, Connolly did everything he could to diminish Black voter registration.
Barbara, I don't think that was his.
I'm telling you, I was there. He did everything but shut down the businesses where we were signing up Black people to vote. He killed one newspaper article after another. Well, the Negroes don't really read the papers. What's the point? You don't know from grassroots how hard we had to fight just to register voters.
He had to fight too, Barbara.
For his right to vote?
He was picking cotton when he was 5 years old. He understands what poverty is. He did everything he knew how to do to raise up the people of Texas.
I took a trip across this country in 1954 with my all-Black college debate team. We were on our way to debate Harvard. We slept in the car by the side of the road all the way to Boston. We had to pack our own food because there was no restaurant from Tulsa to Youngstown that would serve us. We couldn't get a drink of water from a water fountain in any public park. We had to pee in the woods, Robert. I'm not talking 100 years ago. This was 21 years ago. I just wanted to eat. Just wanted to use the toilet. Wanted a clean bed at the end of the day. Who led the fight against public accommodation in Texas?
Barbara.
If we're going to talk, we're going to talk truth.
John did.
John Connolly. You got that right. He fought Lyndon every step of the way when it came to civil rights.
What else?
Isn't that enough?
Well, it's enough, but I can tell it's not all.
Where were you when Martin was shot?
Why, where were you?
I was at the Texas State Capitol, sharing an outdoor platform with John Connolly.
Oh, Jesus.
There was a crowd of about 800 Texans looking up at us. Election time, wouldn't you know it? In the middle of Connolly's speech, there were sudden stirrings in the crowd. Some message was working its way up to the podium. It was written on a torn scrap of paper. Big John received it and stopped speaking. I watched him as he read in silence. He looked up and said, Martin Luther King has been shot. The Reverend Martin Luther King has been shot and killed. Well, he said to the crowd, well, those who live by the sword die by the sword.
I'm at a loss.
Why?
I can't presume to know what that did to you.
Go ahead. Presume. You can stand in my shoes from time to time. In fact, I insist that you do. I understand that you come at matters from a different vantage point. E pluribus. Sure. It's the unum thing that we all seem to have trouble grasping. Why is that?
I don't know. Why don't we just cut to the chase?
Why not?
Do you know for a fact that John Connally took a bribe?
No, I do not.
Has he ever lied to you or misled you?
No.
Pretty much ignored you when you were in the state senate, didn't he?
Completely.
So you don't owe him any favors now that you've come to the House?
Absolutely not.
That makes you a great character witness, you know? All you have to do is tell the truth. Okay, testified on behalf of John's character. Be one hell of a symbolic gesture.
I don't much care about that.
I assume you do care whether or not he gets a fair trial.
There ain't no way he's staging a political comeback, and that's what you're hoping.
No, he's gone too far with Nixon. Anyway, there's my pitch. Now, don't answer just yet. Take a week, think things through. Call.
I don't need a week.
I don't think I can bear to hear you say no right now.
I'm not going to say no.
Now you can. What?
I will testify on behalf of the character of John Connally.
Don't you toy with me.
Would you like another drink, Bob?
Now, just my seat. You'll do it.
For various reasons. Interested?
Very.
From what I know of the evidence, they may indict, but they have no legal grounds for a trial. The two witnesses are contradicting each other. Mind you, Connally doesn't have perfect recall either, but when all is said and done, there is no hard proof. I also get stuck on the idea that a multi-millionaire with his eyes on the presidency could be enticed by a few $1,000s. That just doesn't make sense.
Right.
If I testify, I'll score some points with conservatives. And since I love to build support across the board, that suits me just fine. It's no real reason to testify, but I just love gathering those chits.
Absolutely.
The main thing is, I'd really love to be the one to extricate that anti-civil rights corn cob from out between Connally's lower cheeks. It's the charitable thing to do, I expect. I want to see the expression on his face when he looks up and realizes that it is a black hand that's bringing him comfort. So I'll do it. Okay, Bob?
I have no words.
I'll try and jot down a few ideas on how I might best serve the defense. I assume Williams will be wanting a few strategy sessions with me before I testify.
You knew.
What?
You knew what you were going to say before I even came in here.
I had a pretty fair notion of why you were coming to see me, but I by no...
You knew exactly what you were going to do, and you knew it all along.
I thought I explained it to you, Bob. I'm new to the House. A lot of this political wagering goes over my head. I can't afford to fall behind. You would like another drink, wouldn't you, Bob?
Why'd you do that? Why you let me go on the way I did?
Good grief, Robert. I had no idea how you were going to pitch it. You might have said something to make me change my mind.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you.
Are we square?
We're square. What are you doing tonight?
I'm going to the library.
Let me take you to dinner instead.
Only if I pay.
Barbara,
My treat.
forget it.
Some other time, then.
It's a meal.
Right. It's a meal.
I hear you're tight with $1.
Let me take you to dinner and you can find out for yourself.
I'll stop back.
Around 8?
Well, Barbara,
Yes.
how much you've earned and how much was handed to you because of your pretty black face?
Yes.
Give me a call. I know the answer.
The spirit of liberty is the spirit which is not too sure it is right. The spirit of liberty is the spirit which seeks to understand the minds of other men and women. The spirit of liberty is the spirit which weighs their interests alongside its own without bias. The spirit of liberty remembers that not even a sparrow falls to earth unheeded. The spirit of liberty is the spirit of him who nearly 2,000 years ago taught mankind the lesson it has never learned, but has never quite forgotten. That there may be a kingdom where the least shall be heard and considered side by side with the greatest.
Here we are.
Thank you, Nancy. You didn't have to go through the trouble.
No trouble.
Nancy loves to fuss. You should try her herbal tea. She makes it out of tree bark.
I do no such thing.
Tastes like tree bark.
And the horse you rode in on.
What are these?
Fat-free oatmeal cookies.
The garden has changed so much since I was last here. It's beautiful.
This time of year, there's not much to see. Sure, I can convince you to stay with us tonight.
I've got to meet some friends downtown for dinner. I can crash with one of them tonight. I've got an early flight in the morning.
Next time you're in town, give us a little notice. Plan to
Will-
spend a night or two. Oops. Fuck. Sorry. Next time you're in town, give us a little notice.
Will do.
Plan to spend a night or two.
Okay.
Have you got everything you need?
Thanks.
I'll let you two get on with it then. Call me if you need me.
She looks great.
She holds up pretty well, yes.
So, what's next? What do you think?
Well, you managed to pick open a hornet's nest. I'll say that much. Who's Charles Macon?
A reporter from the inner city press.
What's his connection to you?
He's an old college buddy. He went out of his way to get himself assigned in my campaign. I had always supposed he was sympathetic.
Hmm. Are these quotes accurate? Did you say these things?
It was supposed to be off the record.
Good Christ! Didn't I teach you anything at all?
The whole campaign had stopped for the day. We were all sitting around headquarters watching the speech when Charles stopped by to join the celebration. We listened to the speech, and then we sat there for the rest of the evening talking about it. The guy had his feet up on my desk. He was drinking my whiskey and debating right along with the rest of us.
How did you come to make these remarks?
Mandela was acknowledging the ANC and seemed to be encouraging the armed resistance. The whiskey had been flowing a while, and I just said it. It never once dawned on me that Charles would write about it. This was clearly an off-the-record discussion between friends.
You said, we must put a stop to white America's methodical genocide of the African American male.
I did.
And this, the Nazis may have been quicker and more efficient, but if African Americans don't take action, the end result will be the same.
It was stupid, but it's done. I've gone on record with a denial, but that alone won't bail me out. This could have a huge effect on my money base, and I can't afford to lose my contributors.
You denied saying it?
I had no choice. You don't understand. My polls were dazzling. I'm not even sure now if I'll make it through the primary. Ballard is going to work these quotes as long as he can. He's foaming at the mouth. I've got to do something to stop him. Now, we've got something on him, Barbara. And it's...
What?
My campaign manager and some of the people who advise me think I should leak a certain piece of information about Ballard that we've been sitting on. I've resisted all along because I didn't want to run that sort of campaign. But now I'm wondering if I've been wise. What we know about this man could seriously affect his ability to lead.
So, you've got the goods on your worthy opponent. I assume it has something to do with his personal life.
How do you know?
Every time one politician questions another's ability to lead, it turns out to be personal and almost always irrelevant. You didn't think it was ethical to use this information before, but suddenly, because you made a fool of yourself in the newspapers, now it's okay.
Ballard isn't above going after me with his family values crap. He has actually dragged my divorce into the spotlight. Now he is using these remarks I made in private, to twist everything I've ever said in public. I need your support. The denial I've made to the press can only work if I also have someone with a certain amount of prestige come to my defense. You're the only one I know who has the stature to put this matter to rest once and for all. You understand my position on the issues. It would take one phone call, one statement to the press.
I see. Yes, but from what I read here, your politics have shifted since we last spoke. You call for all Black juries when the defendant is Black.
The law calls for a jury of one's peers. 70% of the Black prison population is serving time for nonviolent drug offenses. Black jurors bring a different perspective to these kinds of cases.
You also call for separate schooling for young Black males.
I'm not the first to propose funding for independent schools for Black youth. The time is coming.
It's the first I've heard of it.
Our children need to be separated from a system designed by and for whites, which encourages them to fail because of the color of their skin. The dropout rate for blacks is 3 times higher than it is for whites. Our male children in particular are in danger. They need sheltering.
I was sheltered as a kid. My whole world revolved around the Good Hope Baptist Church. I came into contact with white people every once in a while, but I didn't pay them much mind. They were somewhere over there. I thought I had it all. What I didn't realize was that I was always measuring my ambitions in terms of what a Black person could do rather than what any person could do. It wasn't until I went to law school in Boston that I understood my world had been limited. There were books, there was music and art and all kinds of ideas that were totally new to me. My education, my experience, my religion, my achievement, even my imagination were not what they could have been simply because I was held separate.
First Black woman in the Texas Senate. First Black woman from the Deep South elected to the United States Congress. How can you poor mouth the upbringing that gave you so much? If that's what a little segregation does for a person, then I say bring it on.
You will never convince me that the citizens of this country should live apart. It's wrong. No matter what kind of face you put on it or how many frills you attach to it, separate is not equal.
You're African American, Barbara. You understand the
I am no such thing. I am an unhyphenated American. It's my birthright. African American is simply a way of continuing separatist thinking.
It is a way of embracing the history and cultural heritage that was denied us for centuries.
There are other more appropriate ways to honor our cultural heritage. But when you insist on defining yourself as a separate entity, you ask to be treated as such.
Barbara, you're a heretic.
I realize it's not a popular view, but that doesn't concern me in the least. I am an American woman who happens to be of African heritage.
You are a Black woman, Barbara. And in America, that comes with heavy baggage.
I've dropped the baggage. I'm done with the baggage. The question is, how do we proceed? And one thing of which I am thoroughly convinced of is the races must move on together.
Why must they?
You took my ethics classes for 1 full year. Do I even have to answer that?
An abiding faith in constitutional law. I know. Has it ever occurred to you that the framers of the Constitution were 18th century farmers?
And Papa was a rolling stone. What's your point?
Don't you think it's possible that when they wrote it, they were not envisioning the kind of world we live in today?
No, I do not. And even if I did, that's what the amendment process is for. You can't do much better than the Bill of Rights, Articles 13, 14, 15, and 19. Did a lot for you and me, kiddo.
Barbara, I really didn't come here for a lecture. I'm asking for a simple favor. Will you make a statement in support of my campaign or not?
I don't think so, Julie.
What?
No, I will not issue a statement in support of your candidacy.
I don't believe this. You're supposed to be my friend.
I am your friend.
I'm only asking for your endorsement.
I understand that.
You're retired from politics. How can it possibly hurt you?
It can't.
Then why?
Because I don't waste my time on hopeless politics. I never have.
Is that what you think of me? That I'm hopeless?
When you compare white America to the Nazi regime, I begin to wonder about your motives, Julie. Are you trying to bring us together or drive us apart?
I told you, I denied saying it.
And don't think for a moment that your denial won't come back to bite you in the ass, because you did say it. And if you truly feel this way, Julie, I understand why you are driven toward isolationism, but I can't go there with you.
Let me get this straight. You'll speak up for white guys like John Connolly, but you will not speak up for me?
Apples and oranges.
Not from where I stand. You don't like my politics? Fine. But you gave Robert Byrd, a former Klansman for God's sake, a glowing introduction at the midterm convention. Are you telling me his politics were okay?
I wasn't endorsing him. I was simply introducing him.
Ah, that's the difference.
I believe people can change, and you can help them change more quickly at times by defining them. Byrd called me after the introduction and acknowledged he owed me a debt of gratitude and that I'd never be sorry. I wasn't, and I'm not.
In other words, he had power and you wanted some of it.
Slow down.
You wanted power. The good old boys had it. I understand the nature of the beast. However, I find myself in the embarrassing position of having nothing I can offer you in return except my gratitude.
Don't insult me. Don't do that. I understand you're in trouble back home.
I'm sorry, Barbara. I'm
It was a
sorry.
mistake.
It was
Yes.
so stupid. I understand.
But look on the bright
It was
side.
such a stupid thing to
You'll
say.
never make the same mistake again.
Believe me, I knew the guy was a reporter. Why shouldn't his job be as important to him as mine is to me? He had to write about it. Of course he did. I should have kept my mouth shut.
Now we're getting down to it. You concede the remarks you made were stupid, not because the whiskey was flowing and you overreached yourself, but you simply should have kept your beliefs to yourself. You were speaking with conviction.
8 years in the public defender's office was a real wake-up call for me.
How so?
These kids who come through my door every day, you know, they've been stopped by the police, put under arrest for possession of, well, fill in the blank, marijuana, crack, heroin. The first thing they do is let me know they are fucking tough. They can size up anybody. They sit down, they look at me, and they wait. They know most people think they are disposable. That's cool. The majority rules. Okay, they get it. So they wait to see how I will cast my vote. Will I pay them with the usual lip service? Or will I actually give a damn? If I somehow make the right connection, they'll show me who they really are. The children that they really are. Attentive, eager, ready to do better if they can. These are our children. Sometimes I just want to grab them and run.
So, separate schools.
I always hear the things you said when I speak. I felt your guidance.
I never guided you toward disunion. I taught you to use the power of reason. Fear and anger is the real enemy here, and you're surrendering to both.
How?
Do you understand that you cannot separate the political moves you make from your integrity? You can't fake integrity.
I just told you I believe what I said.
Then stand by it and take the hits. But you decide, no, I can't. You call an honest reporter a liar. You consider smearing your opponents to get out of the stupid mess that you created. My God, I was never above playing politics, but I could always look myself in the eye the next morning.
The man has no problem bringing my divorce into the public arena.
I don't care about him. Fuck him. I'm talking about you now. I'm asking you to cut through the fear and the anger and the usual knee-jerk responses and use your powers of reason.
Yes, I remember you were always big on the power of reason. My reason tells me there is a methodical genocide taking place in this country, and it is aimed at the young African American male. I can sit here all night and give you reasonable explanations for why I think it. I can cite the AIDS crisis that continues unchecked, the government's pathetic inability to get drugs off the street. I can cite welfare reform, the inner city land grab, the white fraternity of the lower courts, outrageous sentencing policies, and a penal code which is designed to provide cheap labor for big business. I've been on the front lines as a public defender for 8 years, and I know what I know. I see it on a daily basis, and it is killing our race. My reason also tells me it is political suicide to speak of such things in public, even though it is the truth. And yes, the truth makes me afraid and angry. It makes me very angry.
Stay angry and see where it gets you. I'll tell you where it's going to get you, Julie.
You may not like the words I use to describe what's going
Words have power. That's what you don't understand. When you assert that taken together, these words, when you assert that taken together, these issues add up to a conscious, wholesale slaughter of one race by another, of genocide, then you don't understand the power of words. Once spoken, they are a moving force that can build up walls or break them down. They can engender love or hate. They are always a reflection of the person who utters them. If you use them carelessly, without forethought or reason, they come back to haunt you. They slip under the door in the middle of the night. They wake you and they hold you accountable. Julie, until you understand the power of the spoken word, you will be helpless to come to the defense of anyone, much less the young Black defendants who walk through your door every day. Reason, not passion.
Barbara, I understand. I've made mistakes. I understand I have a lot to learn. However, I do believe I can be an effective Congresswoman. I need you to speak for me. There's no one else I can turn to. I should have known it was a fool's errand. Man, people tried to tell me, but I thought I knew you better than they did.
Julie, wait.
Would you please say goodbye to Nancy for me? I appreciate your time, Barbara. I really do.
Julie.
Maybe you're right. Maybe I don't deserve a voice in Washington. I understand I have been reckless. I do have a problem with the anger I feel. And right now I am so angry with you.
Julie!
You must have experienced anger over the years. What did you do with it? When the Texas good old boys needed to prove America worked, they trotted out Barbara Jordan. Why not? You were eloquent, articulate. There was no danger of Black militant rhetoric. no harassment of whites, and absolutely no sympathy for Black protest. But I have to wonder, as you bowed and scraped for guys like Robert Byrd, has there never been a bit of resentment? Or yes, even anger at how they used you? Was it worth it? Did you get what you wanted? Well, look at this place. Onion Creek. So beautiful. A dream come true. Living here with Nancy. The rose beds. The rolling hills. The woods. The secluded drive. Almost impossible to find from the main road. So idyllic. So isolated. You can't see who or what I am anymore because you've lived white too long. You've forgotten me. And when you forget me, you forget everything.
There appears to be a general apprehension in this country about the future. That apprehension undermines our faith in each other and our faith in ourselves. The idea that America today will be better tomorrow has become destabilized. The American dream is slipping away from too many people. It is slipping away from too many Black and brown mothers and their children. The American dream is slipping away from the homeless of every color and every sex. It is slipping away from those immigrants living without water or sewage systems. We are one, we Americans. We are one. And we reject any intruder who seeks to divide us on the basis of race, creed, or economics. This is the great danger America faces, that we will cease to be one nation and become instead a collection of interest groups, city against suburb, region against region, individual against individual, each seeking to satisfy private wants. If that happens, who then will speak for America? Who then will speak for the common good? Are we to be one people bound together by a common spirit, sharing in a common endeavor, or will we become a divided nation? There is no executive order. There is no law that can require the American people to form a national community. This we must do as individuals. And if we do this as individuals, there is no president of the United States who can veto that decision. We are a generous people. So why can't we be generous with each other? Our history bears witness. E pluribus unum, from many one. As we undergo the necessary change, we must be prepared to answer Rodney King's haunting question. Can we all get along? I say we answer that question with a resounding yes.
Are you going to go to Washington?
Is the rehab room that far?
No, I mean,
Because the rehab room looms large on my agenda at the moment.
Slow down.
Are you going to nag me for the rest of my life?
If you're lucky.
You don't understand.
What, Barbara?
I don't know. I don't know.
Just sit down. Sit down.
I don't want to sit down.
Well, what do you want?
I want the goddamn bike.
What are you talking
And you
about?
wouldn't get it for me because I was 3 pounds off the mark.
Are you still brooding about that? You were 3 pounds off the mark because you went to a Texas barbecue fundraiser and stuffed yourself.
They expect you to eat. And don't kid me. You never intended to get me that bike. You didn't think I could lose the 60 pounds.
And you didn't?
3 pounds off.
From whom do you think I learned precision?
And now it's too late.
Okay, things are a little emotional right now.
Would you call me a cold individual?
Not at the moment.
Have I lost touch?
With whom?
Where do you put your anger?
What?
Your anger. Where do you put it? What do you do with it?
Well, I take it out on you, of course. Why? What do you do with yours?
John Ed had his bottle of gin, I think. Our father had our backsides. I think I put mine in here. I could really go for a strawberry sundae right now.
Oh, your mind is a maze. I wander around it, and when I come to a corner, I try to remember whether I to turn left or right.
Left, you idiot.
Left, of course. Sit down.
I'm not going to fall.
2 years ago, you broke your collarbone. Last spring, you sprained your wrist. Don't tell me you're not going to fall.
May I see the newspaper? I was always that black girl. I knew what it meant. And so I put my head down and plowed my way into the middle of the toughest white boys on the block.
It had to be done, and you were the only one at the time who could do it.
The Medal of Freedom. Good Lord, why? Where is Vernon Dahmer's Medal of Freedom? Medgar Evers' Medal of Freedom? Andy Goodman's Medal of Freedom?
Sometimes it's enough if you only live for your country, Beach.
They're all ready for you in rehab, Professor.
Shit.
Are we all set? Ready to go?
Just about. Still trying to find a comb.
Take your time.
Something on your mind, doctor?
I may feel really foolish in a minute because somehow, whenever I'm in the presence of a person I revere, my speech gets all garbled.
The same thing happens to me when I'm engaged in conversation with a doctor of medicine for very different reasons.
I know you've had your fill of people like me. The sight of the endless parade of white coats turns your stomach. And here you are in the middle of the battle of your life. And who comes to your rescue? Gidget. Believe me, I know. I've had an uphill battle myself.
I'm sure you have.
I specialize in neurology and immunology. I am young, I'm 34 years old, but I am the best that there is, all appearances to the contrary. For close to 60 years, you pushed the envelope, am I right? And your body has had to deal with it. Your body has had to make up with the neglect and the demands because some inner message has been so strong. Consider this wild possibility. If you let your body get a word in edgewise every once in a blue moon, we might just be able to keep your spirit alive and your mind cranking so that you can continue to deliver the message.
Do you know how many doctors I've seen in the past 10 years?
I always thought you would have made an amazing Supreme Court justice.
Why?
The best judges in the world are non-judgmental, don't you think?
They are?
They withhold judgment until the evidence is in. So I'll be just outside whenever you're ready.
It'll be just a moment.
Wait,
Yes.
there is one new symptom that I may have forgotten to mention.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been having some trouble breathing. That's a new, unexpected little treat.
Are you having trouble now?
No, it comes and goes like all the other symptoms. Sometimes I'll be in the middle of a breath and not know whether it would be best to breathe in or to breathe out. So I just hang there, not doing either.
What else?
Other than that, I'm just dandy.
We are going to go over all of the medications you're taking and we're going to fine tune them. And then we'll talk, okay? I'll wait just outside then.
Come on, I'll take you to rehab.
Go over there.
Now what?
Go way over there. If you don't mind.
Now what?
If you don't mind, I'll take the chair.
The chair.
The chair. 1 second you're here, the next second you're there. The chair.
Oh, the chair. Are you sure?
That doesn't mean you have to throw out the walker, Nan, okay?
Of course not. On 3?
No, I would like a little privacy while I adjust to living with my eyes focused on the navels of the general populace.
All that lint.
You understand as usual.
I'll be right outside with the doctor. Call me if you need me.
I always do.
For 20 years, Barbara Jordan has been the most outspoken moral voice of the American political system, a position she reached soon after becoming the first Black Congresswoman elected from the Deep South from her native Texas in 1972.
Now, how do I unlock this wheelchair?
From national platforms, she has captured the nation's attention and awakened its conscience in defense of our Constitution, the American dream, and the commonality we share as American citizens.
Ah, this doohickey. Right.
As professor of ethics and public policy at the Lyndon B. Johnson School of Public Affairs, she ensures that the next generation of our public servants will be worthy of the legacy she has done so much to build.
It's a cakewalk.
Ladies and gentlemen, Barbara Jordan,